Hey, who wants to talk about optics?
One in particular.
All right. Who wants to talk about optic?
Well, no, it's optics because there's two versions.
There you go. All right.
See, so we're still on the level. Welcome in. You have tuned in to a Guns and Gear Live. Today, this Guns and Gear Live is brought to you by our friends at Leupold.
And the letter Q. All right.
Jeez, you're taking like all these circles, and I'm trying to keep up.
Rein it back in.
Rein it back in, man.
Woo!
But
Wednesday.
yeah, no, midweek hump day. Let's get the ball rolling.
All right, we got Michael's here, Rick's here, Williams here. Welcome in. Red dots rock.
They do.
All right.
They absolutely 100% do.
We'll talk about it.
So we have done a video, an in-depth video about the Delta Point Micro before. So if you haven't, you can always check it out. But this one, we actually got to sit down with somebody
who
from
actually
Leupold.
knows stuff. Yeah, the Leupold guys. John Snodgrass, which, little background on Snodgrass. Awesome last name, obviously. But super smart guy, been in the optics world for a long time. So honestly, anything optics-wise, you kind of want to listen up.
Yeah,
he's been there.
He's in the know, if you will, and he's a shooter. Which, you know, when you talk to a lot of these, sometimes like these engineers and these mechanical-minded individuals, they're about the optic, and they don't press that trigger much. But he is a trigger puller.
Yes, he is. So we're going to get to it. But if you don't know, I don't know if you how much you covered this. This is unloaded, right? We should probably.
Yes, it is.
I mean, I kind of. Usually, what I like to do is assume.
Well,
not check.
I like to bring in guns that have 0 in the mag, 0 in the gun, so there's no rounds.
All right, we'll still do our best and try not to point it at each other. So this is the Delta Point Micro, and it looks a little funny at first.
Yeah, I will be honest. When this came in, I was like, I showed Ryan, and we both agreed, man, it's ugly. Like, I mean. It is, but it's functional. So we talked about. I think we talked about it in one of our lives that we said, you know, there is no bad guy you're gonna pull that out. You're gonna go up to gun. And he goes, oh man, that's a hideous sight.
Right? Who cares
I mean,
at that point?
Who cares if it's functional?
A lot of when we put out the kind of our first look video on this, a lot of people with a lot of opinions about this. They had never shot it. All they'd done is seen it. So I guess let's run the interview.
Yes, let's do that.
And we'll talk more about this on the backside. But you guys start commenting, ask questions, and we'll address them after we talk with Mr. John Snodgrass.
Okay, today we've got a special guest. We've got John Snodgrass from Leupold. Today we are talking about the new Delta Point Micro. You guys know it, but John is here to tell us all about it, and we're going to dive into some of those tougher questions. John, welcome in.
Thanks for having me, Kevin. It's great to be here with you today.
Okay, the Delta Point Micro. Now, this has been out for a little bit, but it was a big introduction, and I was excited about it. So give us some of the background on this revolutionary. I say revolutionary, but it really is. It is a fast, quick red dot.
Yeah, it's we're kind of hoping it's going to be a game changer. It is kind of counterintuitive to what most people think a red dot should be. But we spent a lot of time looking at, what the market had available out there and trying to solve some of the problems that other red dots on the market don't solve. And we think we did a pretty good job of coming up with some really good solutions.
I really do think you have. And it's for those guys, if you guys don't know about it, so it dovetails right in your back sight. So you get your back sight out and you input this micro. And I think you've got one right there, right?
Yeah, I've got one here on a Smith & Wesson Shield, and so that is one thing about the micro, hence the name micro, right? So we really designed this and intended it to be a tool for the concealed carry and personal defense market, especially now that the compact guns are getting so popular. So the nice thing about it is, as you can tell, on the Shield, the Shield's not a big gun. The Delta Point Micro itself is very compact, very low profile, and that is one of the things when we talked about looking at other red dots and trying to solve problems. going into the acquisition of the red dot and how do we keep costs low. Whereas with a conventional red dot sight, right, you either have to have a slide that's cut for one of the red dots, like an MOS style pistol or optics ready pistol, or you have to take the pistol that you already have, send it out, and have the slide machined in order to mount those red dots. And then that's cost that's incurred on top of the purchase of the pistol. If you want backup iron sights when you do that, generally you have to go out and buy a set of taller, like suppressor height or even taller sights, which then can lead into having to get new holsters. And, it's kind of a spiral effect of cost. And so one of the great things about the micro is not only its small size and how effective it is as a red dot, but it's also a great value in that there's no additional cost other than the firearm that you're putting it on.
That's right. And so he's got the shield, but a lot of guys, and I've seen this, guys and gals both have said, well, what about appendix carry? Is it comfortable? Because you've got a little bit of space back there that's sticking out. Well, that's to house the battery and to depress that button to turn it on. Well, I've got on me, and I've been wearing it the whole time, I've been wearing it quite a bit, a G43X. And now when this gun came out, super popular, not a lot of red dots are gonna fit this, but I've got the Delta Point Pro, or Delta Point Micro attached right there, and it doesn't impede my draw stroke. It doesn't stick out of the clothing. So this is very concealable. And you guys thought of all that.
Yeah, we really did. I mean, people may not understand or know what product development timelines look like, but we've actually been working on this for a long time and talking to a lot of people, getting a lot of prototypes out there in people's hands to wear every day and carry every day, shoot as much as possible. So, going back to the comfort thing, if you're carrying appendix and it's not already uncomfortable for you to carry the gun, it's not going to be uncomfortable with the micro on it. The back is rounded. One of the things that it does, obviously, space is a constraint. So some people they talk about the appendage on the back where the housing is, the battery housing. We also tried to incorporate a lot of people who like to basically hook their thumb on the back of the slide when they draw from appendix. So that gives you a nice little shelf to be able to do that. It doesn't really stick out that far. Once you actually have one in your hands or in your holster and get to experience it, it's really not uncomfortable to carry appendix or on your strong side or weak side, wherever you're going to carry it. Fits in most of the holsters you're already using. Really just does a great job of providing that fast, accurate red dot on a pistol, in most cases that somebody already owns, which is a big benefit. We discussed it a little bit earlier. Guys like me who are getting old and have a hard time seeing our front sight, having that low profile red dot where we can still see our dot, it's on the same focal plane as our iron sights. So those years of learning to go to your front sight on your draw, it does everything for you, and it does it comfortably, and it does it at a great value.
And so my big thing with it is people say, yeah, John, that's a really small window. Okay, if you're wondering about how big that window is, I'd size compared it to different cartridges. And so it's about the size of a 308 casing is what it is. And you shouldn't have to worry about your draw stroke or your sight picture if your draw stroke is correct. And that's a big teaching point, I think, behind the Delta Point Micro, is that you're going to pick that sight up because you're right. It's exactly in your line of sight. It's exactly where your rear sight is.
Correct. That's one of the things that we spend a lot of time on. A lot of the stuff that you'll hear out there is the conventional thinking is you need a big window. Everybody wants a big lens or a big window to increase their field of view. What we did with the micro is, especially when you're talking about a defensive situation where you really want both eyes open, you want to be threat focused. The nice thing about the micro is it is easy to pick up the dot because it is right there on top of your front sight, and you don't have to relearn how to draw your pistol or how to present the pistol in order to find it. Most conventional red dots, they sit up a little bit higher above the bore or above the sight plane. So until people get used to using them, you see a lot of this like moving
Yes.
around and trying to find the dot, or guys will draw and bring it up to their eye and push out.
Yep.
You don't have to do that with the micro. It is on the same sight plane as your factory iron sights. It becomes its own backup iron sight if for some reason the electronics fail or the battery goes dead. Like I said,
let's talk about the battery. All right.
Yep.
It's got a ridiculous battery life to it. At like level 4, it'll run for 30,000 hours or something like that?
Yeah, it's right around 36,000 hours of constant runtime on setting 4. So we found a really efficient LED. It's got our motion sensor technology like all of our red dot products do. So if you leave it on and you set the firearm down, it stays motionless. It'll shut itself off. Any vibration or movement, it comes back on to whatever setting you left it at. I think you guys mentioned it in the video. If you get up on the higher settings, it's super bright. Most people are going to have to run it, in those mid brightness level settings. So you'll get plenty of battery runtime out of it. It uses a CR1632 battery, so it's a very readily available battery, easy to get a hold of. And if you're the kind of person who just replaces your battery every year because it's a good idea to do so, you're not ever going to have any issues.
It's funny because I have like this table, so my kitchen table once a year turns into battery replacement center. One day a year, I drag everything with a battery in it, I replace it, and I know like everything's good.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's easy to do. I mean, and you're 30,000, you're not going to be running this thing 30,000 hours in a year. I mean, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's actually about 3 years of runtime at 30,000 hours. So
there you go.
And you mentioned doing yearly maintenance. So that is one thing we really strove to do is being able to do basic maintenance on your gun without having to remove the micro. So that's a big point for us. You do have to remove the battery cap, but once you remove the battery cap, you can remove your slide, which will give you that basic tear down, basic maintenance. Now, granted, on most pistols, striker fired pistols, if you want to completely strip your slide, you will have to remove the micro. So that is a thing. But I mean, I'm going to be honest. I'm not that big on maintenance. I don't know. I can't tell you the last time I ever detail stripped a slide.
The only time I do it is when I'm like moving a gun over into running simunition rounds, and that's the only time I'll fully detail strip a slide. But there are guys out there that's a thing to them, and I don't know many of them because I think they're more like you and me. They're, just take the slide off and you're good from there.
Yeah, this is going to sound horrible, but I'm kind of famous around here for saying if my gun gets that dirty, I'll just go buy a new one.
Oh, jeez. I'm not that guy. I'm not quite there, but I'm close. I'm close, John. So let's talk kind of we like to prepare and we like to understand our gun, our equipment. What would you suggest if a guy picks up his gun and he's going to have to use that gun, he raises it up and that dot is not there? What do you guys recommend? And I know the answer, but I just want to hear it from the source.
If we're talking about that particular scenario, in most cases, the distances that you're talking about, do you really need a sight? But as far as the Delta Point Micro goes, I'm going to turn this around, and all the safety Nazis are probably going to freak out. But
it's an unloaded gun.
Yep, it is an unloaded gun. We did check it before we started, so I'm not sure if you can see that. I'm trying to get the dot in there, but if that dot does go out, this thing acts like its own rear backup iron sight in two ways. It becomes a very handy ghost ring sight. You just put your front sight right in the middle or in the bottom third of that window, and I think I got the dot off now. So nope, dot's still on. Hang on just a second.
It's too good.
It's too good. Yep.
It won't go off.
So,
see?
Yep. So now you've just got a really good, clean ghost ring sight. And then we also have two pockets milled in the back of the frame. So if you wanted to fill those in, that gives you that 3-dot aiming system that people are used to.
See? They thought of everything. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you haven't tried the Delta Point Micro, I guarantee you will like it. And you're going to shock yourself because this thing is deadly accurate. And you know what? It actually comes in at a great price too. I think I looked on Leupold.com and it's coming in right at $3.99. So likely you'll probably find it a little bit cheaper out there in the world. So go get your go set your sights on the Delta Point Micro from Leupold.
I'll be honest. I didn't even realize they had 2 dots milled in the back of this.
You didn't?
No, I never noticed
I thought
that.
that's
But
the,
I'm
like the whole point
well, that's
of
pretty
it.
neat. Okay. So when we first got this in, it was like, I don't know. This is a little bit goofy. It's very different, and the window size was. But as you guys talked about in there, we took out the range like right off the bat. It worked fine.
Yeah.
I didn't find that it slowed me down or anything like that. It's definitely for all red dots, you're having to get used to a new draw stroke and a new kind of pressing out. So you're not coming up like this, but you're trying to get it way up high and then press it out.
drive it out.
And
Yeah.
that way you're picking up the sight sooner.
But if that's a normal draw stroke, bringing those sights up and pressing out, that's what you're supposed to do anyway.
Kind of what you're supposed to do anyway. So because if you had to, you could shoot from here, you could shoot from here, you could shoot from there, right?
Okay.
Lots of questions.
Random name, dude, okay, Google says kudos, and this is great because he says kudos to Leupold for trying something out of the box, which I agree. Like it's nice to see someone going, well, let's think about this, you know, and maybe this isn't the solution. And like kind of what you were saying, I was like, maybe this is one of those products that you say in a few years down the line. Remember when Leupold brought out that little micro? But they're trying something new, and this will lead to more innovation and more
right.
people thinking outside the box.
So lots of questions. Okay, so first time I've seen this. Does not look like it works on 1911. It comes in 2 versions right now.
right now,
Right now it comes for Glock pistols that are not MOS versions, and it comes for Smith & Wesson M&Ps.
yes.
And those are
So
actually
those are your shields. Those are your M&Ps.
shield as well.
Yeah, all M&Ps.
Okay. So
As long as they're not
it has to
milled.
fit into the rear sight dovetail because it's made for that. Also, they are not interchangeable. So like this was for a Glock, this will not work on an M&P because the shape of the slide on an M&P is different. So you'll notice this one is kind of 90 degree. The one John Snodgrass had,
It's more of a.
it's more of a
cant.
45 because of just the shape of the back of the slide on an M&P. So those are the 2 models that they brought it out for first. With any accessory company, they typically bring it out for 1 or 2 of the most popular guns out there. So
Hence the
Glocks and M&Ps. They went, how many are there? Yeah, let's do that first.
Yeah.
Will there be more models? As if this catches on and they see that you guys are liking it, I'm sure they'll bring out more models.
Absolutely. And Texas Huntsman always has great comments. Like I love when he chimes in because he's got some good insight. He says, young me, that fancy crap is for boomers. Iron sights are the best. Bifocal me, these snot-nosed kids don't know what it's like to not be able to see.
Yes, that is one category of shooter who has caught on to red dots to go, oh, cool, I don't have to line up rear sight, front sight, have the target there. Yeah, Rick Raznick, I'm old, I need the help.
Okay, hey, did you know Rick Raznick? I saw won something from like a Crimson Trace giveaway. He was like a winner, like on
He's
over
everywhere.
there. I was like,
He's
man,
working it.
I know that guy.
I know that guy. Brad says, I don't see that fitting a Beretta or other hammer-fired pistols.
No, hammer fight, not with all the business you've got going out
Yeah,
here.
they would, if they did see a need for it, they'd have to redesign it because the
Right.
battery is sitting off the back of
Right.
the slide.
And I had a comment from a guy the other day. He reached out and he was saying that, hey, I just got a micro in, and he goes, low key, don't tell anybody. So I'm not going to tell anybody. How do you turn it on? And he goes, and they're like, as quick as he sent that, it was almost like a light bulb went off, and he goes, oh, never mind. I'm like, yeah, the enormous button hanging off the back, like, and how do you change brightness levels? The same button. It was pretty funny.
Yeah.
But
Just
I'm not
keep
going
hitting
to
the
tell.
button.
I'm not going to tell anybody. Secret's safe with me. But no, it's about. I said it was about the size of a 308 casing. If
Yeah,
you're
from
if
the-
you're wondering,
The rear
that's about what it is.
circle. Also, you guys started getting into, and people, because we have to answer this because people ask, well, what happens if the dot goes down? There is no rear sight on the gun anymore, and that's true. But similar to using any kind of red dot on a gun, we've kind of gone through a couple different things. You have to figure out where your gun is hitting with the dot off. Hopefully you shoot enough and practice enough where there's a little bit of muscle memory where you can index it. And because this really does mount right into the dovetail of the rear sight, it acts as a ghost ring.
Yes.
You can look through it and you can see the front sight. And in an emergency situation, meaning emergency distances, you could probably get hits on target.
Yeah. But we're talking about self-defense situations here, self-defense distances.
Right.
From me to that target, I mean, I'm going to hit it.
Correct.
Whether that dot's on or not.
Yeah, you'll probably
I mean,
be fine. 'Cause
yes.
you shoot enough, you know there's a lot of muscle memory going into,
Driving it out.
dare I say, point shooting. Oh, he said it, no.
No, you didn't.
Hey, you ask any like USPSA competitive shooter guy if they have their rear sight and front sight lined up every single time that they shoot a target at 5 yards.
Well, hold on a second. If that's the case,
They do not.
go watch these guys like Max Michel or any of these professional shooters. I don't know how they're it's all muscle memory. They know where that's going.
Yeah,
because their sight picture.
There's
is
a
the same.
hint of sight going
My
on there,
gosh.
but you know.
They're shooting so fast and moving, it's almost impossible.
Yeah. So you had a few more questions on your side, I think.
I think one of the big questions is it going to come out in different models? I tried to call during the live.
He was on the
I
phone.
tried to call
Yeah.
Leupold just to verify, so I didn't give any bad information. I think if it starts taking off, I think there'll be more offerings for more popular rounds, and I would say you're going to look at the next line of popular guns.
Take a guess, right?
Yeah.
Okay, P320s, Springfield Armory guns.
Yes.
Those types, and some of these guys share dovetail pattern.
Yes.
If it'll work on the slide and the shape and all that stuff. So I mean, we were, I guess, skeptical when we first got it in, got out to the range.
100% we were skeptical.
And was like, okay,
Like
that works.
I'm going to tell you right now, I was 120% skeptical on this thing. But after running it, I see the value in it. I see the value. I see, if guy's not willing to send off his slide to get milled, he doesn't want to incur a little bit extra cost. He doesn't mind a big button in the back. I mean, all those things play a factor, and
It's just-
and it's going to work for some people.
It's
Some
another
people it's not.
option, and it may be the right thing for a certain gun or a certain carry method, and it just depends on what your thing is. I like this as a small carry gun option.
Oh yeah.
I feel like if I had a big big Glock 17, although this will go on a Glock 17, it'll work.
Maybe not the best
Maybe I
option.
don't have to go that small. Maybe I can just use a big red dot.
And we talk about this being, for some people, is this for the guy who's going to strip his gun every time he takes it to the range and fully clean it inside and out, take the slide apart? No, this is not for him. It's not for him because you're going to have to
I don't
take
know that guy.
I do. You know that guy.
It takes
After
his-
every time at the
he
range.
goes to the range, he takes it apart and cleans it. I don't know if
Yes.
he takes out
But
the
this isn't
firing
gonna
pin
this
stuff.
this isn't gonna be for him if that's what he does.
Right.
Because I honestly don't fully strip them, and so I'd be okay with that.
Yeah. So anyway, it's cool, it's new, and I would just say before you decide whether it's good or bad, you might want to get your hands on it and take a look through it, and if you can, get it to a range and shoot it.
Yeah.
Then you can actually
Well,
form a good opinion.
and there's a lot of these not out there. So if you're able to get your hands on one and you buy it and you don't like it, you're gonna have an easy time reselling it.
Good point. Good point.
I mean, because it's hard to find them right now.
Yeah.
It really is. We're lucky to have this one. quit petting my gun.
All right, guys. We'll see you next time. Hope this was helpful. And now you got another thing you need to go spend that tax refund on.
You got a tax refund?
I'm just saying, probably
Lucky.
somebody did, right? All right. Later. Let's see what we get. Always very innovative. It's a lot of fun.